Yo, yo, yo. DPS podcast, that's Damage Per Second podcast on a Friday night. And this is episode 241. And, we're going to have a good time, even though it ain't much to talk about. I mean, just keep it a buck. It ain't a lot of topics, but the topics that we do have, we're going to give them everything. We're going to glaze these topics that we got, okay? We're gonna give it our all. So that is my co-host, Mr. Gaming Forte. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, man? It's been quite a non-eventful 2 weeks.
I didn't even introduce myself. I am for anyone that hasn't listened to this before. SloMoBackSlap is my name. So yeah, Forte, go ahead, continue. My bad, bro.
They know who you are. You're the man that goes online and slaps people around when they disagree with you.
I do not. I used to. I've moved on.
I'm a
new man.
So you're gonna retire? You're gonna retire the name?
No, the name gonna stay. But I've.
It's like that.
Moved
let a
on
person
from doing things.
Is it like let a dude know type of name now? Don't mess with me.
Yeah, pretty much. But you got to start to realize when it's a young man's game. And that you're just like, I'm a little too old for that now. Much like how when you're the owner of an NFL football team, you try to be general manager as well. At some point, you just gotta realize it's past you, and you need to let that go and let someone else do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I'll be
your
happy
teammate
nonetheless.
Your teammate got to deal. Your teammate got to deal with the repercussions of that man just giving away a player,
giving away generational talent. I love it. I know there's a lot of non-sports fans that's like, what are they talking about? Just Google Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones and have a good laugh, because that's what I've been doing for the past day and a half, having a good old laugh.
I was sitting there like, dang, can we get that deal here in Detroit?
Instead, what you got in Detroit is you got Michael Parsons twice a year, every year now.
Well, I ain't really worried about
Enjoy that.
I wouldn't. He was with the Dallas Cowboys last year when we blew them out. So plus, I don't believe it. Jordan Love is still the quarterback. So
look, man. You might want to look up there.
It ain't JD5 over there.
Well, that's true, but look, notice that collectively the NFC East fans all decided to say, "Oh, thank God." Sick and tired of seeing this guy twice a year. The most successful pass rusher in the league since he been in the league. You understand it when you see it.
Oh, I know. And guess what? I'm just hoping that Jordan Love has a Jordan Love year, because it doesn't matter what that defense does then.
But Brugger, I disagree. Two things you don't trade. You don't trade franchise quarterbacks. You don't trade the very best pass rushers in the league, because it's hard to duplicate that kind of production. Like, you got 2 first-round draft picks off of that. You're not replacing that. Like, I don't care who you getting in the draft for those 2 picks and late round picks of that, because the Packers are a good team. You're not getting anybody that's going to be a replacement for that 30-year-old D tackle you got out of it too. I mean, like, it's he's a nice piece, but your defense is going to suck this year. It's just but
were they going to be good this year anyway? It's the question.
They were going to be mediocre this year. Now they're
exactly.
bad.
So now wait. Well, the defense was going to be mediocre, but the team was probably still going to be mediocre, because you know who's the quarterback of that team? The other overpaid person that's in the NFL.
Man. That man making good money. And can't even make it to the NFC Championship. Anyway, enough sports talk. Let's get into it. Forte, what you been playing, man? What you been doing? What you been playing?
Nothing. This week? No, my life has been Bandad for life. I have done nothing but this is the first week of they had their first football game yesterday. So I worked. What did I do since last week? We did the podcast on Thursday. Friday, I worked open to close. Saturday, I worked open to like 8, and then I came home and passed out. Sunday was a long stream because we were live with the Lords. I worked that morning, did IOP, and then I think I went to go see Weapon that night.
And Weapons. How was that?
It was good. I actually liked it a lot. Went to go see Weapons that night. Then came home with sleep. Worked all day on Monday. Tuesday, I was off, but I was running around doing something with my daughter. What was I doing? I can't remember. But then the last 2 days have just been crazy because I just been trying to get everything set up. Had to go get all the stuff that she needed for her first performance and everything. And it was really, really cool. It was cold as heck outside yesterday. Of all the days that the football team decided to have a game, it was, of all the days this week, it was the coldest day of all of them. But it was a good game. They won by 4 points on the last stand inside the 18-yard line. It was like really, really cool. Let me tell you something, bro. Listen, you have all girls in your family too, right? Or you got a boy. You do have a boy, right?
I have 2 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah. You're completely opposite of me. But I have all girls. And I already struck out on the first one. She didn't want to do anything but go to school, come home, do homework, play video games. What a life to live when you're a kid. Nothing wrong with that. I thought I was going to strike out. Second kid ended up running track, doing band, all this stuff. So I was at yesterday. Well, it actually hit me earlier, probably a couple weeks ago. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like how much I love this. And yesterday going to the football game, because I haven't been to like a high school football game in forever. But going to this football, because I was literally there to see my kid march into the stadium and to perform at halftime. That's all I cared about. And then I stayed there, and then I was watching the game, and it's like, oh man, this is cool, man. I forgot what it's like to, go to the football game at the high school and watch the team win that you're rooting for. And then I was sitting there like, dang, I literally stayed here we got there at 5, because I dropped her off at 5. Then we had, I got back at like 6 o'clock, 6:30, because they actually marched in to the stadium performing, and watching my kid march into a stadium, because they have a nice stadium, march into it, chanting and stuff, gave me goosebumps, bro. I was like, yo. And my boy next to me, he's like, yeah, bro, because his son plays saxophone. And he was like, yeah, man, I never thought I would ever say I got goosebumps watching a band perform, but it's because your kid is in it and you watch videos and stuff. It's crazy. So I just been super excited for that stuff. If I had to say the game I had been playing is I have played a little bit more Cyberpunk on the Switch too. I just installed Shinobi Art of Vengeance on Steam. So I just installed that on there. And Lost Soul aside, I got a copy of that sent to me. So I installed that on my PS5. I haven't got a chance to play it yet. So those are kind of things I'm like on the docket to like.
I played the demo.
You played the demo, so it's not looking good, is it?
We gonna talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it. But I did install it. I just haven't played it yet. But like I said, the only game I kind of played was like Donkey Kong and stuff like that. Like and Cyberpunk I played a little bit on my Switch because I was just seeing exactly like where I was, because it has been like a couple weeks since I played it. But outside of that, like I said, I will tell you this. I took my Switch to the football game because while I was waiting for them to march in, I had it in my hand and I was just playing. And I had like 3 other like kids that was next to me. It's like, oh man, is that a Switch too? I said, yeah. And he said, "Can I see? Can I see?" And it's not just random kids. It's like kids that got family that's in the band. So I know you ain't just. I know I can find you if you run off with my stuff. So I can find you. It's not going to be hard. But yeah, it was like really, really cool. Like people was like, "Oh yeah, then that's way bigger than the original." And so it kind of started some conversation because I was up there. That's when I was up there playing some Cyberpunk and stuff. And then they saw some of the other games that was on there. But yeah, man, handheld game for life now, man. I might have to. This is the thing. Steam needs to come out with a Steam Deck 2. They need to hurry.
Oh, it will. It will. I
need
get
to hurry.
Steam's very close to the vest with their future plans, but
Yes,
it wouldn't surprise me if we got one in another 2 years or so. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they come out with a Steam Deck 2 at that point. They've always said that they didn't want to put the 2 on it until they felt like there was technology wise like a massive
technology
leap
to do it.
Yeah, they didn't want to just iterate off of what they already did, even though they did that somewhat with the OLED. It's got a better screen, it's got a better battery, and I think the clocks are a little bit higher, but like it's essentially the same chip. It's the same hardware, just kind of tuned a little bit better and a little bit more efficient. But they're not going to do another one so they could really like make a jump and give it. I could see them doing that in another 2 years. But for those who may be wondering, like, where's the music? I'm not doing the music right now. And it's not because, before I kind of laid off the music and some of you guys complained and it was, I just kind of want to know how it sounded without that. But this is more about, some inside baseball when it comes to content creation. Unless you make your own music, you're really kind of relying on having the license to use music or finding music that's royalty free. And some years ago, Riot Games, shout out to them, did a solid for a lot of content creators and had like 3 hours of royalty free music available. You just had to go and record it to rip it off of whatever they do. Long story short, lately, I don't know what's going on with the license they have for that music, but a lot of people, and I thought it was just me, but I've speaking to other content creators, spoken to other content creators who have been complaining about the same thing, that they've used the same music that I've used, or at least different portions of it, but it's all comes in the same like combination of music that they gave royalty free to people. And it seems like the artists are now going after the people who's used their music in their content. And so until Riot Games gets everything sorted out, it's just going to be no music for the time being. Hope you guys don't mind that too much. But I did kind of feel like it deserved an explanation so that people just didn't wonder where the music went. Floodzilla in the house. Floodzilla says Jackson Dart is greater than Jaden Daniels. I'm not even going to answer that. Forte, what are your thoughts on that one?
What? Jackson? Yeah. No.
That says it all. That says it all.
Well, first of all, Jackson Dart hasn't taken a NFL snap in a game yet, where JD has played a full season, took the number 1 seed all the way to the 4th quarter in the playoffs and beat them. As a rookie.
So I didn't need to say anything. I just let Forte tell you out of your mind and you should stop.
Crazy, bro. Can we at least let that man throw a pass in the NFL for the first time ever?
Flood, you should stop glazing Jackson Dart. How about that? He gonna know what I'm talking about with that. For myself, what I've been doing, I haven't really played anything new. This over this past week, work has been kicking my butt. Work has been ridiculous. With some of the projects I have and some of the hours that I've had to work. I had to get up at like 5 a.m. to troubleshoot networks that are across the world. And the reason why I'm up at 5 a.m. is because of the time difference between, Eastern Standard Time and where these other people are, and so it's been kind of tiring me out. So over the past week, I haven't played. I mean, I've been playing games because that's what I do, but I haven't played anything really new aside from trying out the Lost Odyssey demo. We will get into that later, and then also trying out Gears of War Reloaded. Getting back into that after not playing that for a number of years. And me and my buddy used to run through the entire trilogy on insane difficulty. I think insane's what the highest difficulty is called, and that was fun for its time. My my friend still plays games, but he like, bro, I ain't trying to play that again. So I played a little bit of it. Gears of War Reloaded.
You know what? I installed it. And then I went and looked at some people's game, like people playing it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to play this.
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I'm real close to getting the final prestige, and I'm gonna tell you now, Forte, this has been like my worst prestige season. Like my KD is at its lowest. It ain't like horrible, but it's lower than what the normal is. Even though I feel like I've gotten better, even better than I was before. So I've been doing a lot of little things, just messing around with stuff. Like ever since Battlefield 6 came out, I've been up in aim labs, kind of like doing, kind of like tooling some things, kind of trying to get myself, my thumbs in a certain shape, metaphorically. And I can see the differences. When in everything I'm playing, really. But I don't know what's going on Call of Duty right now. It's like I feel like every other match is a guaranteed cheater in the match. It's just like, I mean, can I go 2 or 3 matches without running into somebody that's like, oh, yo, that person's definitely cheating. So it is what it is. I don't anticipate Activision ever being able to really fix it or try to catch up to what the cheaters are doing. It's unfortunately is the way it is. Been playing Fortnite, which is a lot of fun right now. Me and this is hilarious. So like my same friend I used to always play Gears of War with. His son's now 13, I think. His son's always hitting me up whenever he sees me on Fortnite. So me and him team up, start doing duos. This kid plays Fortnite on a Nintendo Switch 2.
No, let's go. He's bodying people probably too.
Is nasty. I'm just like, bro. I'm trying to keep up with him. I'm thinking like, I got 8 kills. I checked the the scoreboard. He got 11. I'm like, what?
Let's go.
Well, he get 11. I get tag team pause, and they get, I get dropped. He comes out of nowhere, wipes him, picking me up. I'm like, on the Nintendo Switch 2. Wow. So look, man, these kids, they something else, man. They something else. Like I had to hit my boy up. I was like, bruh, your son?
Nasty.
He's like, I know.
Nasty.
He's like, I couldn't be more proud.
Nasty out here.
So I've been playing that, and I've been playing Fire Emblem, 3 Houses again. I actually have. This is just, I guess, my sadness in not getting a new Fire Emblem yet. But I've been playing the Blue Lions route, which, for those who have played Fire Emblem 3 Houses, they know what I'm talking about. And real quick, before we get into these rapid fire topics, I want to complain about something real quick. I want to complain about a couple of companies real quick.
Okay.
So back in June, and I think I may have talked about this before, but back in June, I pre-ordered what seems to be probably one of 2 best controllers out there that you can get. The GameSurge G7 Pro.
Yep.
And I pre-ordered I think it's called Ember Shadow. It's the shadow version of the controller. Little did I know at the time that I was pre-ordering the one that would be the most sought after and also have the least amount of inventory from GameSir for.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish I would have pre-ordered the white one now, but it's what it is. So this is June. It wasn't supposed to come out until July. GameSir delayed it. Maybe because they didn't have enough inventory. I don't know. So that's one thing that kind of annoyed me. Then I had a deal with Best Buy telling me that they were going to cancel my pre-order if I didn't get it by August 10th, when GameSir had delayed the controller until August 22nd. So I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. How are you going to cancel my order? Now at this point, I'm really trying to hold on to this order because there's no like available like inventory for this particular version of the controller. So I'm definitely want to get this at the very least. Maybe I'll just hold it on to it as a collector's item, go buy the white one to actually play with, right? And so I'm like, why are you going to cancel my order over it not being available on a date that it's not even like supposed to be out? Like, so I hit up Best Buy. They acknowledged their mistake, said they'll fix it. Cool. So on the 22nd, it releases. I get the whole notification. They're shipping me the controller. Bet. Oh my gosh. FedEx. They freaking used FedEx. And I just, you know, I've heard all the horror stories and I haven't had too many bad experiences with FedEx, but I feel like all the bad experiences people have had with FedEx have all been accumulated in what I'm dealing with now. They have, and I had a conversation with them today because I still ain't got the controller, Forte. I still don't have it. I don't even know where it is because they haven't updated the tracking on the controller on the package since Tuesday.
They ain't sending you that controller.
Bro, I feel like I'm not getting it. So I'm just going to go ahead and order the white one off of Amazon because I'll probably get that one before I get the shadow version of the controller. But I'm on the phone, but I'm still like dealing with them just on the off chance it finally shows up. And also because I'm kind of pissed at like the awful service. And so I'm freaking FedEx. I'm talking to a FedEx rep. They just lying, contradicting themselves. I'm like, they were like, yeah, we see it was supposed to ship on the 23rd, but it didn't ship until the 26th. 2 minutes later, well, you know, it shipped on the 26th and due to how they lied and said that Best Buy didn't set it up for home delivery, and then Best Buy actually sent them a screenshot of Best Buy telling me we set this up as home delivery and FedEx knows it. So like I caught them out on that lie, and then they were like, oh, well, you know, because it's ground. And not express, it's gotta be 4 days minimum. So that's why you're not getting it until after the holiday. I'm like, whoa, after the holiday?
Damn.
What? I'm like, wait a minute. What about Saturday? I'm like, what about Saturday and Sunday? The holiday is on Monday. They were like, yeah, because you know, because it's not set for home delivery, then we're not going to attempt to even deliver it on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I'm just like, here is Best Buy saying that's not true. Then I get escalated to a manager who's all like, you know, I'm really sorry. You know, it's just terrible. I'm so sorry. I'm like, look, just stop apologizing and find my package, bro. Like, I do not care. Like, there's nothing you can do for me. What, you gonna give me like what free delivery service or something? Like, there's nothing you can do for me, right? So I don't care what you have to say. I just want you to do your job. That's what I want. I just want you to just find the package, bruh. And he's like, yeah, so don't worry about what the other rep said. I'm like, yeah, I'm not, because everything she said was false. And he's like, yeah, right. So I'm like, so you're acknowledging that she basically lied on everything. He's like, well, I mean, that's a perspective. I'm like,
that's a perspective.
I said, sir, I'm like, just find my package, bro. He's like, yeah, so look, it hasn't been delivered to Maryland yet. But when it gets to and then, he's like, yeah, and Best Buy didn't put the right weight of the package. And so it kind of threw us off. Oh, and Forte, they sent me so in the tracking, the reason why it didn't get shipped on the 23rd is that, by the way, if I ever see this package, this box, it's probably going to look like somebody put a sledgehammer to it, because they claim it had an unreadable barcode.
Oh, really?
The package that was sent by Best Buy a day later has an unreadable barcode. Like did a anvil. I feel like I'm in a Looney Tunes cartoon, and an anvil from the Acme Corporation just fell on the entire package. It's just like, what is going on here? So the whole thing is a kerfuffle. It's a kerfuffle. It is absolutely nonsense, and FedEx sucks. I mean, just straight up and down, they're awful. I never want to use FedEx ever again for anything. Like, I don't even want to drive past a FedEx truck. I just, they suck. So that's it. You ready to get into this, man?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, really?
Well, Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment have announced, I freaking love this. I freaking love it. I love it. They have announced that the Division Survival 2.0 is coming out, officially called the Division 2 Survivors, which will take the highly enjoyed mode from the Division 1, bringing it into the Division 2 with even more elements for players to contend with. Forte.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about that, man?
Did they give you any date or info or anything like that?
They didn't, because it's
I like how you're holding
I
back.
mean, they well, I mean, look, man, hold on, look. This isn't a Warframe thing, okay?
No, it's just like you just went from super excited until I asked you, like, did they say when this is coming? You was like, no, they didn't.
Well, I mean, like that is disappointing. So it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
because we all know what that means. Like, dog, it's like, man, it's like, I wish I knew something about what this was, because it's like, not saying that it's gonna get canceled or anything like that, but it's like, corporations now, when it's like, it just seems all doom and gloom. It's like that across not just this game, it's like any game. Like, when they say they announce something, they don't tell you a release time or a release window. It's like, it's games like when.
Well, they did say next year. They said it's coming out next year. Now, they're not as bad as Digital Extremes and Warframe, where basically take anything they say on a timetable and throw it out the window.
They throw it out the window. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, they have had a few delays, but they're delays because, like, the team that works on the Division 2 right now at this point is very small. So they and they even saw like an article recently that said at one point there was only 5 Ubisoft developers working on the game at one time, and that's insane. Like, they were doing content with just 5 people, which is crazy. But now they got a bigger team working on it now. But if it's any delay, it won't be delayed out of 2026. It will just probably get delayed until later in the year if it does get delayed. But more than likely, we're still going to get it next year. But I'm excited because Division, that's like the ultimate battle royale as far as I'm concerned. You're dealing with the elements. You're dealing with NPCs. You're dealing with the PvE aspect of things. You're barely alive because you got this infection that's killing you. So you got a timetable. You got an hour. You can kind of extend it if you find, meds and antibiotics to kind of keep you going. But it's really, really difficult to survive, and you gotta contend with other players. It's such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And they're idiots for not having it in Division 2 from the very start. Because if they did, I feel like that, and plus some of the other modes that they created. I mean, really, you could definitely say original Dark Zone from Division 1 really birthed it how extraction shooters are today. Now imagine if they didn't give up on that. Imagine if they didn't wear down the Dark Zone. Imagine if they had like the Underground, like from Division 1 and Last Stand, and they just expanded on them and made them better and put them in Division 2. Imagine if they didn't go with raids and they just continued with incursions, which I preferred more than raids. Like, I feel like the game would have been in a different place today than it currently is. But I'm glad they're finally listening, and it's good to see the good old survival coming back. And did you ever play Division Survival?
No, I skipped over it. By the time Survival came out, I just kind of left it.
Yeah, and look, a lot of people left the Division 1. Even before the DLC started coming out, because there was all the bugs and issues, and you go in the Dark Zone, he was getting ganked, and the dudes talk about your mother, and he's doing jumping jacks on your dead body, and people just people can't handle
people weird, bro. They can't handle power.
Right. So it is what it is. I'm looking forward to it when it finally comes out, and maybe we'll see something before the year is out. But it's good to know that it's in development. You ready for the next one, man?
Absolutely. Oh, really?
Judas being created by creative director Ken Levine. I don't know how you say it.
Ken Levine.
There we go. Ken Levine. There we go.
Lovin has an O in it.
McLovin. Anyway, look.
What is the name of that movie, by the way? McLove. Forget the name of it.
Superbad.
Superbad. Yeah.
Ken was the director for the BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite. I don't think he did 2, which would make sense considering how 2 was.
2 was developed by it wasn't even by Irrational. It was by another, I forget who made that one.
Yeah. But he's got some details for Judas, and I thought they were very fascinating. Definitely want to discuss them. So Ken says that where BioShock had set villains, Judas will feature what he calls the big 3. And what that means is that you'll have these characters that you'll become friends with, and like all dependent upon the choices that you make, the decisions that you make in game, and who you focus your energy on will also like do the polar opposite, where it also end up being the people that you alienate that you don't focus your energy on. And your own actions will determine which of these characters becomes the villain of the game. And the character that becomes the villain, they'll get new powers, they'll get new abilities to attempt to stop you from accomplishing your goals throughout the game. And I think that's like a very fascinating idea, because that's not something that's been done before, at least not to any kind of degree that I've seen in gaming before. And so I love new ideas, and I knew that Ken had to been cooking something really unique and different, because we saw from what we heard from his former developers that they essentially made like 2.5 games before they finally settled on what Judas is. And Ken just kept killing the games that they were making because he didn't think they were good enough. And so that really kind of leaves a lot of anticipation and a lot of hype for what this could be. Forte, what are your thoughts about that?
No, I like the fact that, well, first of all, I remember talking about this last week on IOP, where it's like, man, when are we going to get updates on Judas? It's kind of been tight-lipped. And I understand the whole process of it. And the thing is, they're going to let Ken Levine, cook as long as he needs to. the last time I played a Ken Levine game was BioShock Infinite, and I almost had almost went freaking nuts having to talk to people after I played that game. Like, what is going on? Actually went back and played BioShock 1 probably a couple weeks after that, because there's a lot of callbacks to BioShock 1, like the whole Songbird falling off of the top of the tower and stuff, and hearing it underneath the water inside a Rapture and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it was
so good, man.
It was so like, it was like when you heard the thump and you heard like it's like you found out that it was the fight that the Songbird was having outside, and it was like the underwater, you could hear it in the game over there, but you didn't know at that time that's what that was until you saw it inside of Infinite. It was so well done, man. And then just the ending, like walking into that garden and seeing
Infinite's so good, man.
It just, bro, it like just in Infinite, the way it starts, you know, it starts with the lighthouse as usual, but then you go all the way down and you're looking at all the text and the statues, and then you get to the worshiping, and you go through the waterfall, or the you go underneath and you go through the fountain, and then you're in what's the name of the flying city? Columbia. And then you're in Columbia, and you just...
Can I say this?
It's so good,
I knew that
bro.
game was going to... I knew I was in for a ride. Most games kind of shy away from certain kind of content.
Oh, yeah.
Remember in the beginning, when they had like... It was like a play or something that was like super racist? And I was like, what the heck is this?
Yo!
And I was like,
literally.
yo...
It was right before you even, it was literally the first interaction you had with other people. You're walking through Columbia, you see all the blimps and all the different cities floating around, and then you're making your way, and then you see the little play, and you're standing in the crowd, and you see that, and I'm like, yo, right off the bat. So not only does the game just start with like a religious undertone because of the scenario you're walking through at the very beginning, they get really, really into it right as soon as you get to the city. And it was so well done.
BioShock Infinite is the kind of game that, like, if I saw another streamer or another content creator saying, I'm playing BioShock Infinite for the first time, I want to watch it.
I'm watching it
because I want to see their reactions, because I wish and this is bad, because when I played it and I streamed the entire playthrough, I did it on Twitch, and I wish I would have at least saved the VODs, so I could put them on YouTube, because man, it was so good. Yeah. And just that, like, I would like to even just rewatch my reaction, my VOD to... I did it, like, I think I may have beat it in like a total of like 4 or 5 streams.
Yeah.
But like, it's such a great story and a great experience. And I just... much respect to Ken and the work that he does, because after that, I became a fan. Now, whatever you make, I'm going to play it, because you know, I just I'm sold on the vision and the kind of work that this guy does, and I think he's humble enough, even though, you know, all these people have egos, but I think he's humble enough to understand that he's not really doing it by himself, and he needs a team around him. But I think he's got enough clout where even Take-Two is just like, take your time.
Bro,
like, they really just giving him like a blank check and no milestones, and just like, do your thing, bro. And no one gets that from Take-Two. Like, that's unheard of. You were about to say something. I cut you off. My bad.
I'm just like, this is why I had no issues. Like, when people kept saying, when we gonna hear about Judas, I'm like, I don't care. I said, of course, I want to know more about it, but I don't care. The last time I picked up a game for Ken Levine, I was like, yo, I almost lost my mind when I found out that Comstock was basically an alternate.
Hey! Don't we don't want to. You know, there might be people who haven't played it. You know,
okay, but when I found
don't
out,
matter. Look, we don't
want
to ruin it.
Listen, you're right. When I found that out, and I found out that all the stuff that was going, I was like, bro, are you serious? So
when I beat the game, I got to the end and I literally sat there. Me and my stream sat there, and we debated.
Yes,
what the ending meant for like 30 more minutes.
Mm-hmm. And all I remember,
fantastic.
And the one thing I will always take away from that game is the saying, "There's always a girl and there's always a lighthouse." And I will always and that sticks with me. Anytime anybody asks me about BioShock and how I felt about the end, it was always a girl. There's always a lighthouse. And you really, truly know what that means when you get to the end of Infinite. It's crazy. But no, the game in general, absolutely. Happy that they finally said some stuff about it. I understand why they stayed quiet about it, because, you know, the way that media and just the overall circulation of how games are talked about could be good, but it also could be very, very damaging. It could definitely be something that drums up a lot of suspense and a lot of admiration for those developers, because people know. But he also, this is the thing though, and I don't think this is lost on Ken. He knows that he has a huge hill to climb, because everybody knows the last time that man made a game, it was a freaking masterpiece and it ended a trilogy. So this is something new. And everybody is just like it's pretty much just like how Bungie was with Destiny. It's kind of the same exact way. People gave Destiny a chance, not because of the type of game it was, it's because who made it. It was made by the creators of Halo. So those people were super just in tune to the fact, like, Joe, this is the same people that made Halo. And take it or leave it how you feel. A lot of people loved it. Some people left because it wasn't what they wanted to be. Ken knows that he has not a lot at stake when it comes to this game, but there's going to be a lot of people wondering what's he going to do next to like one up. And I always tell people, like, when it comes to like my top 5 in games, period, nothing will beat Mass Effect 2 to this point. I haven't came across a game that does it. Mass Effect 2 is still number 1, but I still to this day say nothing has came close other than Mass Effect 2 beating it, BioShock 2. That's my second favorite game of all time.
BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, BioShock Infinite, not BioShock 2. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, not 2. 2, oh my God. They added that janky multiplayer to the game, and I was like, what is this? But yeah, BioShock Infinite, number 2 favorite game of all time. Let that man cook. Thank you for the update. Take all the time you need. I just want to see it in my lifetime. That's all I care about. And you know, that's it.
Well, you know, like, Ken is an icon, but you want to know who else is an icon?
Oh, who?
Vince Zampella.
Yes, he is.
You ready to talk about some Battlefield?
Sure am. Thank you for nerfing all that stuff.
So we got Battlefield 6 specs that have been revealed, and for ultra settings, I'm not going to show it on screen, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all are going, oh my God, PC talk, it's PC talk now. Real quick, for ultra settings, you'll need 32 gigs of RAM, a minimum 16 gigs of VRAM, and if you're looking for ultra, you're going to need to have a minimum of a RTX 4080 or a RX 7900 XTX. And as far as your CPU, you're going to need to have a minimum i9 12900K or a 7800X3D. Now, for minimum spec, GPU wise, you're looking at like a RTX 2060, which is not great, not a great GPU at all.
Not a great one.
Or a 5600X XT, which is like a 1080p card to put in your starter PC or your little minimum spec PCs out there. So specs that are not difficult to achieve. It looks like DICE and EA are trying to make sure that all gamers on PC are able to play this game. Forte, what are your thoughts on that?
I think this is crazy. Now, so Ryzen 7 7800 X3D, because that's the gaming equivalent of it. Now, I have a Ryzen 9 5950X. The 9 is still better than that 7, right? Because you know how AMD is with their Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just have the very first line of the Ryzen 9, but the Ryzen 9 is still good because this is the way they get you. This is how I feel like AMD and a lot of these chip manufacturers or creators do. They put a big number at the end, like 7800 X3D, and they make you feel like, because I'm not gonna lie.
Well, now to be fair, the AMD CPUs, like the X3Ds.
Well, those are gaming CPUs.
Those exactly. Those 3D stands for 3D cache, and
CD
those
cache.
are excellent for gaming.
Yes.
They're excellent for like your all non-gaming stuff, your workload stuff. It's not good for that if you are a content creator as well as a gamer, and you want to build something that can do both. You probably don't want to get one of those CPUs. Actually, I think, our resident AMD Glazer in the chat, Floodzilla, likely could help make sure I get this correct. But I think the 9950X3D is good at both. That might be the only one. But I feel like AMD did develop one that is fairly good on the non-gaming side of things and not just excellent at gaming. But that's like the only one. The other ones aren't. Go ahead, my bad.
Okay, so this is what I like about AI. This is funny. So I can't stand. So this makes me feel like I need to upgrade my CPU.
Don't. We do this all the time.
I know.
Look, if you upgrade your CPU,
I got to upgrade everything.
More than likely, now I got to upgrade your motherboard.
I do. I know I do.
But you just upgraded your motherboard like 2-3 years ago.
I know, but my motherboard is on AM4 though. It's not got. I'm on the last generation of AM4. So if I do any type of upgrade, I got to go to AM5, and that means I need to go to DD. I got to go to DDR5 RAM. That means I got to go.
Yeah.
As
you
I
have
should.
no choice.
Well, I had no choice at that point. Yeah. But yeah, I'm literally on the generation edge. So all my stuff still runs perfectly fine on my 5950X. But the problem is it's not just upgrade, like you said. It's not just upgrading the CPU.
You gotta change. Look, I always say this.
It's basically a new PC at this point.
There you go. If you basically building a new PC. Anytime you have to upgrade your CPU, and then you need to get it because the way, CPUs are, you gotta have a motherboard that is very specific for that CPU. And more than likely, by the time you need to upgrade your CPU, it's typically, you don't upgrade as quickly as you would say a GPU. You can kind of skip generations with GPU and then upgrade and you'll be fine. But CPUs, they'll last longer. By the time you need to upgrade your CPU, and what you need as a new CPU is not compatible to the motherboard that you have, period. Mm-hmm. So you need to upgrade your motherboard. Now you are literally taking your CPU apart. You're disconnecting everything. You're taking the motherboard out, CPU out. And at that point, you're looking at your case like, this case kind of outdated, man.
Right. You might as well just left it all in there and just bought a new PC.
I got tempered glass on one side of the case, but now they got cases where it's tempered glass on 3 sides or 2 sides. Now they're bigger. Even the ATX cases are bigger now to encompass these massive GPUs. I might as well buy a new case. Now, you know what? Just build a new PC.
You know what?
And you know what? We've been talking about this. Your daughter keeps
I was just
monopolizing your current PC. So you can give your current PC to her since she's already co-opted it anyway.
Mine is my GPU. Yeah. She can. I'll buy her another GPU.
Weren't you getting the 5090 from your brother?
Oh yeah, dang! I forgot about that.
So you get the 5090. You gotta give him your 4090. So
I still gotta get a GPU for it.
Yeah, but like for what she plays, she plays some pretty heavy things. Get her like a. You could probably get her like a.
No, if I did,
the 5000 series is so underwhelming.
No, I don't need. No, I would just. I don't know, man. How much? The thing is, 4,000.
She plays AAA games though. Like she plays Resident Evil. She plays. She played The Last of Us Part 2, which is not.
She played Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, and that game unreasonably is very heavy on GPUs. Yeah, man, you're gonna have to get her something significant. You can't just get her like a mid-level GPU. You gotta get her a high-end GPU. I'm thinking like a 4080 or up. Like it can't be below that. Like performance-wise, it's gotta be a 4080 or higher. She probably like, I love SloMo right now. He advocating for me. But no, I am like you know, no lie, like
you better not be at this. You better not be listening to this.
But like seriously, like you probably need to get her something, pretty significant. But yeah, man, just go ahead. Like it seems like it's time. If you feel like you want to get a new CPU.
Well, I'm just looking at it.
Even though I think you'll be fine. I mean,
I think I'm.
I played the beta with no issues.
No, I do think, but I also do know I'm getting. Put it this way, I could probably pull probably another year, at least another year, maybe 2 out of this, maybe. Like at the level that I wanted to be at, probably 2. So I think what I'm gonna do is, because like you said, we were talking about, because my daughter taking my stuff all the time, and every time I come in the house and she's on my PC, like even today when I came in the house, she was on my PC. I said, Peyton, I need my PC. We got the podcast. She's like, oh man. So then she got up a PC and went upstairs. So what I think is, her birthday is July of next year. I think the goal is basically just to save up some money just to change everything out and get a completely new tower. I don't have to buy RAM because it's already in here. The only thing I would be, basically I'd buy a brand new PC with a GPU and maybe get her like see if I could find her maybe a 4070 or a 4080.
You probably not gonna be able to. 4080s are impossible to find unless you get one used. Which
no, that's I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Go to Java or eBay, find one used.
Well, I would. I think I'm looking at Micro Center's website. Micro Center got some clearance ones, not clearance, but used ones, and I just buy a warranty on it.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, like I feel like the entire 5000 series is overpriced.
I'm not buying that,
worth. Not worth anything. There's nothing. Well, I mean, I don't know. Actually, yeah, no. I do know. Nothing in the 5000 series is worth buying, as far as I'm concerned. And who knows how the 6000 series is going to go? But whenever it comes out, if it's priced stupidly like the 5000 series, I'm gonna say the same thing. But go used and get something that's like actual reasonably priced, and people have a real big like misconception about used GPUs. Like they're designed to be used extensively. Mm-hmm. Like just because like CPU may be like 2 or 3 years old doesn't mean that the person who owned it like treated it like crap, and it's like it's barely going to be able to perform the way it should.
It sits in the case.
Benchmarks.
It sits in the chances of you, but this is the thing I'm trying to tell people, the chances of you getting a used a GPU off somebody that's been farming Bitcoin is is not an easy thing to do. So most GPUs that you see online are going to probably be ones that have barely been used, because because that's the thing about PC gaming. People buy things when they don't need it. Like for me, like I'm at a point now where I bought this CPU in 2020, like 2021. I'm coming up on 5 years. Do I have to do it now? No, but I know people that have upgraded CPUs just because when AM5 came out, they just did it. It don't matter if they only had their AM4 for 2 years. They's like, oh, it's AM5, I'm jumping up to the next generation. Just like people that just bought a 4090 went and upgraded their 4090 to a 5090. Like, why? You don't need to. But people do it all the time. And then they sell their old one for whatever. I mean, I think this generation is kind of the weirdest one due to the fact of the infrastructure that they have built around NVIDIA with the 5090s and stuff, where raw rasterization is still better on a 4090, even knowing the 5090 is a more capable and more powerful system. I just rather have the horsepower to produce the pixels versus having the raw brute power of just faking them. That's like the difference you have right now between 4090s and 5090s. But I completely want to see what the 60 does.
I know we kind of get in the weeds here, but let me take this conversation to a place where even console gamers can understand this. I think we have reached the point where worrying about generated versus rendered frames is no longer really
it's not relevant.
Yeah, like no one's playing anything in native resolution. TAA, temporal anti-aliasing, used to be the bee's knees for anti-aliasing and great visuals, and now we got freaking upscalers that are making the image look better than temporal anti-aliasing. Like deep learning anti-aliasing that NVIDIA makes looks better than temporal, and now with transformer model for DLSS4, the quality mode looks better with like either anywhere between 66 to 80% of the same resolution. So it's just not like, you don't need that for great visuals. And I feel like that this is where, because like I shout out to Crossfire. I was on Crossfire last night.
They got a NVIDIA 4080 Founders Edition for $849 right now.
That's almost what I paid for mine, and that's a great price.
They got 22 of them. Good God.
When I was on Crossfire last night, we had got into a discussion because someone was saying that, like, if PlayStation went day and date with all their games on PC, he would just build a PC. And we were discussing it, and he was talking about spending like $5,000 on his PC, and I was just like, the bulk of that $5,000 is going to come from the cost of your GPU. You understand that, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm just like, well, what if I told you didn't need to get the flagship NVIDIA GPU to get the kind of performance that you're looking for? Because you're getting into PC gaming, your performance, like a 4070 is a better GPU than what you get out of a PS5 Pro, and you think that's amazing. Imagine what you would get from, say, just a 5070 Ti. Like, it's just, you don't need to go to, spend $3,000 on a 5090. It's just unnecessary. So, to kind of bring it back home with Battlefield, I think a lot of people are going to, those specs give me a little bit of encouragement that the game may be fairly well optimized, which is something that we couldn't say for a lot of other previous Battlefield releases. And I think that, potentially this game might be run really well on all platforms it's available on. And that's the hope, because we want to see Battlefield really have its come up.
Yeah, we do. I definitely want to see that, just so we can finally have something else to play that's not just Call of Duty.
And since you mentioned Call of Duty,
Transition.
Call of Duty has been in the news recently because Call of Duty might be getting a movie soon. So apparently, and this is coming from what is it called? Discussing Film, which is a pretty big Twitter media source on movies and such, and the stuff that they talk about is always fairly legit. But they said that Paramount is in talks to buy the rights to develop a Call of Duty movie, which, I mean, we don't know if this would be focusing on like Black Ops stories or Modern Warfare stories, but or even use the same characters from those games. But I thought that was pretty interesting to talk about, especially considering Paramount did Halo. And so, interesting that they want to take this route, and also interesting in whether they would actually be good or not. So, Forte, what are your thoughts on this?
You know, I can kind of take it or leave it because turn on any recent Commando Army movie and it kind of has a Call of Duty feel to it anyway. Like, what is Call of Duty gonna? So
you're saying they can't screw this up essentially, because there's like what was that Extraction with Chris Hemsworth? There's like 50 million Navy SEALs kind of movies that they've done with all kinds of,
one of the
take
best,
all the generic white actors in Hollywood and throw them all in a movie and give them guns and everyone goes, yeah.
One of the best movies made was Navy SEAls with
oh, that was really good with Charlie Sheen and
Michael Biehn. You ain't like that?
Yeah. No, it was good. It was great.
Oh, I'm about to say, because one of my favorite scenes in that when they're playing the music and stuff like dong, and they jump and they do the Halo jump.
Yeah.
And that I was like, yo, this is really, really cool. And what's his name that played? I forget his name that played President Palmer in 24 was the was one of he died in that movie.
The black dude.
Yeah. I love that movie, bro. But that's what I'm saying. Movies like that, I'm thinking of that movie and just thinking of, and them they were stuck in that city. They had to get evacuated. They had to like get out to sea and with a submarine that had to come and get them and everything. And I was sitting like, when I saw this, I was like, they already make movies like this. Like the only thing Call of Duty could do is something completely like if they did like the Jon Snow route and went to space. Would be something that's different. But I don't think they can mess it up. I mean, just get good actors. I wouldn't skip out. That's the thing. I would spend more money to make sure that I get people just like they do when it comes to making sure they sit there, like they get proper military people that come in. That's why a lot of the
and be consultants, make sure that like how they're holding their guns is accurate.
Is all correct.
Because, have you seen some of these 80s movies where they didn't do that? And you look at the movies and it's like at this point now, like none of us like are
like talk about like Predator? Talk about Predator? Like a freaking like you see I understand that Arnold Schwarzenegger wants to hold his
like
gun.
Red Dawn, like Red Dawn.
Red, that's even worse.
Yeah, like where they're just shooting guns and they're shooting guns like they're shooting like they're like 5-year-old kids playing with pop guns or something, and it's just like this is not anywhere remotely accurate.
I laugh at stuff like that when I watch it now, because back then it was like super cool and stuff, but now I watch it's like that's terrible. Like, what are we doing? So I don't think they can mess it up. I just ultimately think it comes down to having the right cast of people that can act. Because the thing is, Call of Duty is going to sell itself being if they're going to call it a Call of Duty movie,
it's going to show up because it's called Call of Duty. Yeah, like it could be a flaming pile of garbage, and people will still be there because it's a Call of Duty movie coming out.
But if they want people to take it serious, they need to make sure they get actual actors that know what the hell they're doing and not just run-of-the-mill people. Not saying you can't give run-of-the-mill people a chance, because I do think everybody deserves a chance. But I think your strong supporting cast, the ones that are going to be doing the heavy lifting, need to be people that know what they're doing and know how to truly act. And if they do something like that and they keep the same energy when it comes to, like, you know, making sure they bring in people to make sure that they are doing things the right way, the military way, things like that, then I think then I think the movie will be a success, because they really don't have, it's not that big of a hill for them to climb. Because we see movies like this all the time, you know, so that's, you know, Saving Private Ryan. I mean, when you watch that
was a great movie.
That's an incredible movie. And then we're not even talking about just the story. Like, if you look at the story of the movie, it's really, really good. But when it comes to the cinematography of the movie, the war scenes, the fighting that happens in the movie, you're like, yo, this is like crazy that this is how this kind of went down. And you kind of engross yourself into stuff like that.
So I have a question for you. So
yeah,
Paramount did Halo, and we saw how, you know, both of us are Halo fans, and we did not appreciate how it wasn't really canon. They created this quote unquote silver universe to justify changing the story in dumb ways for no reason. And I can imagine people who are bigger Call of Duty fans than we are feeling some kind of way if Paramount decides to go the same route with this. So, like, sure, like, you know, it's easier to do a military movie where you're that's more grounded than reality, because you know, it's not going to cost you what Halo costs you in special effects. And so they didn't have to start like in the first season, they just straight up had the Master Chief cheeks out half the time and his helmet off, and it's like, this isn't the Master Chief. He doesn't act like the Master Chief, right? And then in the second season, they saw the criticism of them never being in their armor and never fighting, but like not fighting as often. And so what they did was they created a story reason to get them out of the armor, but still have them fight and do things. And it's just like, this still doesn't really feel like Halo.
Bro, he was arguing with that girl in the Pelican while he was taking live fire with no helmet on.
It's ridiculous. So
I was like, what are we doing? So
my question to you is, what do you want from Call of Duty? Do you want them to do something do you want Paramount to decide, oh yeah, we know better. We know what an audience is going to want from this. Or do you want them to kind of do something like, you know, have Ghost in there, you know, have characters that people recognize from the games?
No, I do want that. I do want there to be some type of type, because just calling it Call of Duty is going to get people through the door. But getting people talking about it,
I think it'll get people in the door. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it'll get people in the door. But as far as like people actually enjoying it.
It's talking about it after the fact, you have to have familiar faces and stuff. But when it comes to the blueprint of the movie, bro, you ain't got to go that far. Like, if you want, like, you could go to one of the best cinema movies ever created in Black Hawk Down and take that formula and not the story and just kind of do that, because that movie from beginning to end is nothing but war. Black Hawk Down is crazy how they made that movie from beginning to end, with all of the subplots that was happening inside of it, the different platoons that was working. You had the Delta Squad that was like kind of going with the Army Rangers and stuff, and you had the different factions they all worked together as a team, but you could kind of see the dissension amongst all of them when it came to like the way things were done. And I thought that was really, really good storytelling in a movie that was being made about people losing their lives in real life, in the way that this went down in real life. Like, everybody remembers that picture on the Time magazine that they took the shot of the helicopter down with the American flag over it while they were being overrun by the Somalians. We remember that picture is burned into America's minds when it comes to stuff like that. So when we saw that movie, people identified with it right off rip. Call of Duty would do, and not try to compare Call of Duty to real life things like that, because Call of Duty is a video game. But just like they depicted that scenario and made an amazing movie out of it that, you know, still stands the test of time to this day, they can do that like with Call of Duty 2. Like, dude, Call of Duty has been a thing since 2000. It's really been a mainstream thing since 2006 when Modern Warfare came out. And it really blew up when Black Ops came out. Like, it blew up when Black Ops came out. So there is a lot of just different stories when you talk about Ghost. You got the Woods angle when it comes to Black Ops. You also got you have Shepard. You have, it's like so many different places they can go with it, and they can actually make an original story based around a lot of the characters they have, not even tied to the games itself. And so they have a lot of leeway they can do, because I guarantee the thing is, gamers just want to have they just want to have the things that they love represented in a meaningful and thoughtful way. It doesn't have to follow the guidelines of exactly what the show or the game did itself, as long as it does it justice and it makes sense. And Call of Duty is one of the things that this world has made so many type of movies about. All they got to do is just do it right. And I think it shouldn't be hard, but watch them make it hard. Watch them make it hard.
Yeah, because it's Paramount. I just don't trust. I don't trust Paramount. But, you know, I'm willing to see it. You know, it happen. I'll want to see it. I'll go watch the movie. You know, maybe I won't go to that. Like, I only really go to the theater now. I'm old now, so I only go to the theater for stuff I'm like super hyped for, and I don't want to wait. But when it comes to digital, I'm there. I'm in there like swimwear.
And they're like swimwear, bro. I'm still waiting for Jurassic Park to hit to go to a streaming service that I ain't got to pay for.
Right.
Because I'm not going. I didn't go to the movie to go see that.
So,
good shot, SloMo.
What happened?
I said good shot. I was looking at your gameplay.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. You know, I can still aim a little bit. You know, here and there. You know,
a little bit.
A little bit. I can do a little something. All right, let's do this. Former director Mark Dara speaks out recently about he has his own YouTube channel, which is pretty dope. And he spoke recently about something that I thought was pretty fascinating. And what he spoke about was essentially like why EA will never sell their intellectual properties that they're not using, or the studios they no longer feel are worth keeping open. Because, you know, EA is notorious for shuttering studios and never using the IP of those studios ever again. And never will you see them, or does it appear that you see them doing, like, even though Microsoft initially shut down Tango Gameworks, they did listen to Krafton and decided to sell the IP, the studio, and as many of the developers that were still there, you know, transition them over to Krafton, since they didn't feel like it was valued them, and someone else wants to take that on. Well, we'll take your money, and
we'll take it.
Mark Dara, who is the former director of the Dragon Age series with BioWare, and also was the last director to get the game to launch on Anthem, even though he really doesn't feel responsible for Anthem. He just basically got it ready to ship. But Mark Dara says that the issue is with EA leadership, that they are too afraid of getting blamed in case that the IP or studios they so go on to be successful.
Oh Lord,
it's going to make them look bad. So this other publisher or this other developer was able to take that IP and make it a great game. This other publisher was able to take that studio and make good content with them. Why couldn't you? And so it really isn't about anything other than corporate, basically politicking and protecting their own butts, which is unfortunate. But I felt it was refreshing to hear someone who has been in those circles speak that candidly about how this stuff kind of works. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, and that does make a lot of sense. I mean, the thing is, if you're never going to use that IP and you're just going to let it sit on the back burner, it's like somebody else taking a shot at it. What does it mean if it does good? If it does good, you don't see any value in it. Like the value of it sitting in your vote forever and ever and ever isn't doing anything for you. So you rather let it sit there chained up, locked away forever, instead of letting somebody else take a shot at it and reaping some of the benefits of what that IP could be worth to somebody else and paying you for it. It just seems asinine. It's like, I understand why Disney does that. The thing is, Disney locks stuff in the vote, but they always bring it back. It's like they bring it back every 10 years, 10 or 15 years. They use it as a vehicle to like indoctrinate younger kids back into the fold. So they say, okay, well, we got this generation locked up, lock it away in the Disney vote for another 20 years, and then we'll bring it out again, and we'll use new technology to, redo it, re-enhance it, and make it better. You will do live action versions of it like they did with Aladdin and they did with all these other movies, so they always find a way to bring those things back. So I always look at Disney when people say, I hate that they lock stuff away and you can't get it anymore. You can't like do this or do that. And I'm like, I understand why they do it. I don't like that they do it, but I understand it because they're just using it as a vehicle to get people back in. If they ain't seen something new in a while, they just remake it 10, 15 years later, and it appeals to other people. EA's not doing anything with these franchises that they got locked away. And and it's not just an EA thing. It's also Microsoft, because Rare is sitting on things that a lot of people want them to make stuff up. We still wait for another Banjo-Kazooie. They got Conquer. There's a whole bunch of games. PlayStation. What happened to Killzone? I understand that Guerrilla then walked away from it and they're making, Aloy and boring games called Horizon and stuff. but listen, if you're not going to do anything with it, sell it to somebody that will. And guess what? If they make something of it, why am I going to feel bad? That's like selling something with the notion of thinking it's going to do better.
I'm not defending the decision, but I'm explaining their reasoning. Their reasoning is that Andrew Wilson, the CEO, was going to look at them and be like, "So you couldn't make that work, huh? I see money out the door. We made maybe $500 million off the sale of that IP in that studio. Now that studio is making a $1 billion game for Take-Two."
Okay, but are they going to put the money? But that's the thing, though. Are they putting the money behind it to make it happen, though?
They don't care because they don't. This is their mentality.
I know what the mentality is. It's just it doesn't make sense.
You can make a winner, and I'm not going to take the chance that you can.
Right.
I don't think you can do it. But I'm also going to cover my butt and say you're not going to get the chance to do it.
Well, and you're 100% right about that, because who's going to fall on the sword? It ain't going to be Zelnick. It's not going to be any of those people, they're going to look at the studio heads or the head of studios and be like, what happened here? How did this? So this studio had this in them the whole time and we just let them go. I understand what you're saying, but I'm in the mindset of thinking like, will Take-Two or EA or Microsoft even give those IPs a chance to even see the light of day? Because if somebody purchases it, okay, perfect example. Darksiders 4 is being made. It got announced that they are making Darksiders 4. Somebody had to take a bet on that. Because THQ didn't do it. Somebody had to make a bet. So whoever bought it made a bet that, hey, we want to buy this because you're not using it, and they were willing to sell it. Now, what happens if Darksider 2 becomes one of the best games that came out when it came to like co-op gameplay, third person action with really, really good puzzles? We know how, especially Darksiders 2, it was one of the best third person games that came out. It had Zelda feel. It was one of my favorite games that came out during that generation, during the Xbox 360. Have if they come out with a game like that, but also make it a co-op game. Like a lot of people were rumoring Darksiders 4 was going to be when Viscera was making it, and before they, the studio closed under THQ. Have if that game ends up being something, SloMo. But guess what? The studio that had it was doing nothing with it. But guess what? The studio that had it was doing nothing with it. That publisher did nothing with the IP. But you sold it to somebody, and guess what? When you sell something to somebody, they find a reason to do something with it. So don't get mad and upset because you sold it to somebody that was going to do something with it. That's why they bought it.
I agree
didn't
with
buy
you
it from you just to sit on it.
I agree with you 1,000%. But imagine, right? I got this studio, and they've underperformed multiple times, and I feel like they're worthless. Like the that good thing is gone. They ain't got it no more.
They ain't got that love and feeling no more.
Nope. I'm gonna shut it down. I think the IP they made, it was a relic of its time. Like this kind of games, you can't make these kind of games no more. So I'm gonna shut all this down. We're going to put that IP in a vault and forget it exists. We're going to lay all these people off, and we're just going to shut it down, and we're going to repurpose their headquarters for a hub space for, I don't know, whatever. I don't know, right? You come along, and you're like, hey, yeah, so you heard you about to shut down that studio. Would you mind selling it to us? And I'm looking at you like, I don't know. What are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it? Right.
Because it's worthless. And you're like, hey, it's not worthless to me.
Right.
We'll figure something out. But I'm like, but what if you're right? Now, I don't believe you, but what if you're right? Mm-hmm. What if you do make it great? Everyone's going to say, why didn't I do that? Mm-hmm. And so, no, I'm not going to take the chance.
Oh my God.
And so that's the mentality. That's the very corporate, very completely devoid of any creativity kind of mentality that a lot of these publishers have. Not all of them.
Right.
But a lot of them do have that mentality.
No, you're not wrong.
Let's speed through the rest of these real quick. And actually, this probably won't be that quick, but this one is... Oh, why does it keep doing this? Oh my gosh. Like this... Okay,
What you do?
No, it's just like everything is supposed... I don't know what's going on with my recordings because they just end up being on the wrong source. So, my bad. There we go. Gears of War Reloaded came out this week.
It did.
Available for the first time ever on the PlayStation console. And this version has already been playable through Gears of War Ultimate Edition on PC, but now the Reloaded is just essentially Ultimate with just a little bit better visuals, but it's essentially the same game design. Nothing else has really changed. I played a little bit of it, and not too much, but it did kind of take me back. I love the campaigns for 1, 2, or 3. Like some of the best, like one of the best trilogies I think that's out there. Never really been too big on the multiplayer, but I might dabble here and there if I get some people who are willing to play it. But it ran pretty well actually. I actually initially started it at like because I was the reason why I'm a little confused, like I had some issues with the footage when I first put it up there, is that I did play it at 4K, but for some reason, NVIDIA saved it as a 1440p video. NVIDIA would do that oddly sometimes, but I initially was playing it at 4K DLSS quality, and then I saw that it was wasn't maxing out my GPU at all. I was getting it did have for some reason, oddly enough, G-Sync was not working on this game, so I had to turn on V-Sync, which is odd because I almost never have that problem. But I turned on V-Sync, and of course, because V-Sync is on, it's trying to match directly to my monitor's refresh rate, which is 144 hertz on my 4K LG, and I saw that it was doing 144 hertz easy. 144 frames per second easy without, with a lot of overhead left over. And so I switched it off of DLSS quality and switched it to DLAA, which is pretty much the best visual you're going to get, period, out there. And really only, but it's heavier than native resolution. It is native resolution. It's natively running it, but it's heavier than using native resolution in TAA. And so really only dropped frames from 144 to 120. So I'm still playing the game 4K 120, which it's an older game anyway, but it's cool. It's cool. I enjoyed it so far. I just like to not to be playing it by myself. If I can't find somebody else to play it with, more than likely, I'm probably not gonna finish the campaign. Just because I literally have played this campaign. I've run through the trilogy 5 times. So I don't mind running through it again. I actually had a friend that was interested and never played the Gears games. This some years ago. And she wanted to run through the games, and I was like, bet, let's do it. And I think we made it halfway through Gears 1 before she tapped out. And I think it's because, you know how, and here's a game design thing, Forte. You know how in games like Mass Effect, because they're all the same generation, right?
Yep.
You just look at the level and you're about to get into a fight. Where you're about to get into a fight, because the way they have the cover situated, it's very obvious, which was fine back then, but now today that's just not good enough. And so I think for some people it's a relic of its time, and it does have that nostalgia factor, but and I wonder, from the perspective of someone who was a primary PlayStation gamer and never played Gears, how they feel about this game in particular. That's something that neither one of us could really speak on, because we played these games when they were brand new on the Xbox 360. But I just wanted that perspective, because I acknowledge the quality of it, and that it's I think the Coalition did a great job in doing the remaster of a remaster, but I much rather just wanted really a new Gears at this point, instead of same old game. But what are your thoughts on it?
No, I feel the same way. I installed it. Funny thing is, it's in Game Pass, so I installed it to the system on the day it came out, and I was like, and I didn't launch it yet. But then I said, well, let me go look at some gameplay. Actually, I was installing it still. So then I think I went and looked at a couple people that was playing it. I think BG was playing it and a couple other people were playing it. So I started looking at the gameplay and I was like, did they do enough to this game to make me want to play this? So it was just, and I am going to end up playing it at some point because I know it runs better and all that other stuff. And they did do a little bit of graphical updates and everything to it. But I just find myself kind of wanting something new. And I think the thing that a lot of people just got to realize, and I already know this game isn't for the people that already played it. This game is for a completely new player base called the PlayStation 5 that didn't get a chance to experience the Gears of War story from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of when it kind of set in with me. And I was like, I want to play it, but I don't have to play it. Or it's not a big hurry to play it because I experienced this game from beginning to end with all three of the original ones.
Real quick, I'm gonna show you guys how big of a Gears nerd I was.
Yeah.
Not only did I play through the games multiple times, but I think the person, what is her name? Karen. What is, I can't remember her last name, but she was one of the writers at Epic for the Gears of War series. Wrote a series of novels that kind of fleshed out the story. They kind of really got into the war with the other human colonies. I'm forgetting names now because I'm old, but like essentially like the war that the coalition of Gears was going up against. Going up against they were like a independent collection of like states or something like that. I can't remember that name. There are the humans though, before the locusts had made their presence. And so like there was a book about that. They had books that were really fleshed out the story in between Gears 1 and 2, but in between Gears 2 and 3. And the one between Gears 2 and 3 had Dom was just depressed the entire book, because of Maria. And and then the last one I read, I don't know if it was the last one that she wrote or they're in Gears novels, period. But the one about Marcus in the slab in prison before Dom breaks him out at the beginning of Gears 1, like that was probably my favorite book. And it's just, I really enjoy the Gears story because it's so different. Their world is so different than, and like that society, like prior to the Locusts, it really kind of shows like how humanity just kind of just like pulls together, because I would say that their society is very much like a communist society, and that like there wasn't a lot of like choice for the people who lived under this government. But all that stuff gets thrown out the window when you have a different species that's essentially making you extinct. Nobody cares. It's about survival at that point. But I thought that was very interesting how they kind of like, you could kind of see when they would describe how society was prior to everything that went on. It's just like, yo, that's not cool. That's not nice. That's not good. Like
Right.
it's great. It's great. I would recommend those books to anybody. They're very well written and really flesh out the story if you care to know about that stuff. My bad. Go ahead, man.
No, yeah. So I just think it generally comes back to if you've never played it, this is a really good entry point to get in. Like I said, oh my God, Michelangelo.
What?
Looking at Michelangelo dancing on the screen with a skateboard on his back.
Oh, you behind on the stream then, because I'm showing Gears footage now.
No, I know. Yeah, the stream was No, but in general, I think it comes back to if it's you never played it, this is a good entry point. So don't take too much input from a person that's already experienced Gears of War. It's just something that I thought I wanted to play it until I saw people playing it, then it kind of hit me like, I don't know if I want to play this right now. And you kind of just got to be in the mood to just want to play Gears of War, especially a game that you already, because it's not like they did any major changes to the game. It's not like they completely remade it.
Yeah, it's something about a game you've already experienced where you can recognize how great it was, but it's just like you're really more interested in playing something that's brand new than something that you've already kind of experienced, and it's not. You're not going to get the same level of enjoyment, the same level of wide-eyed wonder in what this is. And like Gears of War, when it first came out, like that was innovative.
That was crazy.
Like, nobody was doing that. And this is when like people didn't even know what Unreal Engine was. And then you kind of see what it was capable of. And Epic Games was using this like really like a promotion material for hey, like you want to be able to do stuff like this, license our game engine, see what we can do, kind of thing. And
it was a tech demo for the whole engine.
right. And it's it was amazing for its time, but now it's just kind of like,
it's cool. It's not really pushing anything, but I acknowledge that it's going to be something that a lot of people like. The fact that I sold out of it on PS5 is crazy. It's not crazy, but
a lot of people.
Oh yeah, we sold a lot of it, like a lot. Like I probably sold just as much of Gears of War as I sold of Metal Gear.
Now, when you talk to like, just general conversation with a lot of your customers, how many of those people were first-time Gears players, or were they people who, like, I played on the 360 back in the day, but now I play on PlayStation, so it's nostalgia for me too. Like, what do you think the split was?
It probably was like, it was probably 30-70. Like, some people that were Xbox 3, like one person told me like, he say, I would have never experienced Gears of War if it wasn't for the fact that the PS5, the PS3 being so high in price. Because I asked a lot of people, because I did that time, and they was like, man, one guy was like, man, I can't believe Gears of War PlayStation, and I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, man. I was like, oh, so what did you? I said, is this your first time playing Gears? He's like, no, I played it on the 360, but I've always been a PlayStation fan. But PlayStation 3s were way too much money then, so I bought a 360, and that's when I experienced Gears of War for the first time. And he said, and then he was like, I never thought I'd see a day that Gears of War would literally be on a PlayStation. And he was like, I'm here to buy it. So yeah, there's definitely that, So I do think that, and Microsoft knows that too, because they know a lot of the people that did buy Xbox 360s, they're not stupid to this fact. They know that them getting out the gate a year earlier than PlayStation that year. And then on top of that, PlayStation having the situation when it came to like just like infrastructure with the whole PSN store getting shut down. A lot of people that would have been PlayStation people that generation, that ended up still being PlayStation. They just, a lot of people just waited to get there. It's like, I was a PlayStation dude. I didn't own a PlayStation 3 until Killzone 2 came out. Like I didn't, and that way I forget what year Killzone 2 was. So it was like 3 years into the generation before I bought a PS3. And there was a lot of other people like that. So Gears of War.
I got mine for Uncharted 2.
Oh, you got it part of the bundle with Uncharted 2.
No. I mean, I got it because like
You got it for Uncharted. You got it for Uncharted.
Yeah, I have I know there's some people that won't buy a console for one game. I'm not those people. Let there be one game I want to play bad enough. I will buy an entire platform for it. And Uncharted 2 was that game for me back then. So
I bought mine for God of War 3.
Yeah, worth
That's
it.
when I. But when I was at a friend's house. No lie. I was at my friend's house, and he had God of War 3. And I did that first the first mission where you're fighting up the hill and you fight Poseidon for the first time. And I punched that dude so hard. He went flying out of the body. I was like, you started punching him in the ground. I was like, yo, and the game doesn't tell you when to stop. It just lets you keep going. I instantly, no lie, SloMo, instantly, the next morning, I ran out my house and got me an 80 gig PS3 Fat Boy the next day. And I got the Metal Gear, because they had the Metal Gear Solid gunmetal one. I got it right then and there. And ever since that moment, because people said, how are you a God of War fan? I mean, you didn't play the first ones. I said, because I saw God of War 3, and when I saw that game, I was like, holy crap, this is what I'm talking about. And then after I beat God of War 3, that's when it came up with that God of War collection with 1 and 2. And then I played 1 and 2, and then Ascension was like, okay, God of War Ascension was okay. But yeah, that's when I got into God of War. Literally watching Poseidon get beat upside his head on the side of the cliff. It was great. And that's what sold me. And but yeah, there's a lot of people like that happened with Gears of War. And when my man said that, because like I said, I wasn't even thinking about it. He literally just, when I handed him the game, he said, I thought I would never see Gears of War on a PlayStation. And then that just sparked the whole conversation.
You're gonna see that again when Halo goes over.
Oh, absolutely. You already see it with like Helldivers and people like how Helldivers with ODSTs in it. Wild out here, bro.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be I actually kind of feel, just watching my gameplay. Even if I don't get someone else, it's
how does it
very
run?
Clean. Well, I was saying before, I was with DLA on 4K 120.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, I might. You know what? Now that you said that, I ain't even think about that. I might have to play it earlier due to the fact that I've never played Gears of War that wasn't in 30 frames per second. Other than like Gears.
Yeah, you never play Ultimate Edition?
I didn't. No, I owned it, but I never.
Oh, you never used it. Yeah.
I never. Yeah, exactly. I owned it. It was like something, because at that time I was going through. Destiny was full fledged back then. So I never went through.
Ultimate came out in like 2014, 2015, something like that.
Yep, and I never went and played it. There was like a game that Microsoft gave us when we were at GameStop, and I have it installed on my system. I mean, not installed. It was on my console, but I just never played it because Destiny. So I never experienced Gears of War at 60 frames per second, other than Gears of War 5, because I played that on PC. But that's not this. Like, this is Gears of War, from the beginning. So now that this is on PC, I'm kind of thinking now that I definitely am going to launch this game, because I can only imagine what the experience feels like playing this game again with the whole, remember when we always talked about no compromises? This is literally no compromise when you're talking about a game like this, when it comes to like the hardware that we have at this point.
Yeah. I'm well. Whenever you're ready, I'm because I'm definitely going to, like, I was also testing.
Is it still co-op?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
This is exactly like the original game.
Oh no, I know what the original ones, but you know how it is with games. Some things they add. Oh, look! Shout out to the go left, go right. They put the icons on the screen. Do you want to go left or do you want to go right? Yeah, no, yeah. You know how some of these games are. They strip out some of the features and stuff. So it's good to know that the co-op is still there.
This
but yeah.
it's the same experience. It's the same experience.
Okay, well,
I'm pretty sure like the gearheads who really like are into it may notice some details that may be a little different or whatever. But like I I'm not so deep into it that I noticed anything like that. I also had to make sure that my recording ended here.
oh,
good old Carmine.
Shout out to Carmine.
Yeah.
I love Carmine. I used to pick Carmine every time when we played in multiplayer.
I did too. I used to always play Carmine.
I love Carmine in multiplayer. I was like, he's my hero, man.
Yep, in horror mode, I will always get caught. Yeah. But no, I'm gonna keep it installed for a while. What I go for, I probably will just go ahead and beat it. Now that I think about it, especially if you jump in, yeah.
If you're gonna play it, we can knock through this. We can go through this together, man. I'll definitely do it.
Bet. Well, there's another game that you ready for this, man?
Yeah.
Oh really?
So, Lost Soul Aside came out, and look. If y'all been following me for a long time, you know that I have been waiting for this game for years. On my YouTube channel, I made multiple videos, in anticipation of it coming out. And anytime, any little morsel of detail that would pop up, I would be there to talk about it. And I ignored the arrogance of the creator and the rudeness of he and his staff. And when people would ask questions about like, why is this taking so long? What's the state of the game? We haven't heard anything. And I think that annoyance with the creator isn't something that's solely with the people who were excited to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen over the years China Hero Project representatives speaking about refining their process of choosing developers to become a part of China Hero Project. And a lot of what they talked about, I can tell they were discussing the creator of this game, Yang Bing, and Lost Soul Aside, about really like not listening to advice and not like listening to feedback on what to do with the game. And this game started with just one guy, Yang Bing, making it. And it was through Epic Games and Sony and the China Hero Project that he was able to open a studio called Util Zero Games to make this game, to really like achieve the vision that people saw with it. And the combat, I think, is what really sold people on wanting this game, because the combat looked dope. A lot of Devil May Cry roots to it, a lot of like fast paced action, and I think nowadays that is kind of, people are gravitating more towards that because they're kind of sick of Souls-likes for the most part. And it's just unfortunate because I kind of, after a while, I just stopped caring about the status of this game, because I started to kind of feel like every time they would show new gameplay, it would be like, oh, so he added that now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that's a bad thing that he was adding things, but it was like that I'm looking at, because like I when I talk to developers that tell me information about like, well, adding certain features takes a long time. And then like, if you change things where, you need to remove stuff, that's like months and months of work, or potentially over a year of work that's just not even going to be put in the game. And so I'm looking at like where the game started, and I'm not saying it's a problem that the game grew, but considering the size of the team, considering the scope of the things he was trying to do, it just seemed like this was what they call feature creep. And so what feature creep is is where you keep adding features, but the more features you add, the more likely you're going to miss your milestones because like your milestones were created, your deadlines were created with the features that you had to implement in mind at that time. When you add new features, you need to find a way to deliver on those features while also keeping to your deadlines, your milestones. And more than likely, that's just not going to happen. If you keep adding new things, you're just extending the time it takes to get this game ready. And so I remember seeing this game in 2016, 2017. And here we are in 2025, like 8 years later. And this is the state of it. And I knew after the last delay, it was going to be a hot mess. I just had a feeling. But when the game was coming close to launch and there are no review codes out, no one has a review for it, what's the embargo? What? There is no, like, when is this game supposed to release and when are the reviews going to come out? Not that I care for reviews, like deciding what I'm going to play or not. I don't. But it's always been a bad sign when a developer or publisher is stingy with reviews. Because typically what it means is it's a lack of confidence in what the game is going to do. And when you give 0 review codes, that kind of tells me you kind of know what people are going to say. And so I say all that to say, this game is on PlayStation 5. It's on PC through Epic Games Store and Steam. And I will speak personally for myself, and I'll speak for what people are saying, because I don't want to dismiss other people's opinions or experiences, because they're just as valid as mine is. Performance-wise, I had no issues, but I have a high-end PC. So I really shouldn't have issues. It did deal with a couple of stutters, but this is just a demo. I didn't play the full game yet. I did see some clips of the full game that were hilarious, but not like intentionally hilarious. Like hilarious in how bad they were. Forte, there's a clip of the main character being like knocked off a ledge or a cliff or something. He's falling. And the voice acting, I imagine the voice acting it's Resident Evil 1 bad, like original Resident Evil 1 bad. And I imagine the voice acting is this bad. It has to be for this reason, because it's AI. I do not think that the English dub for this game is actual real human beings saying these lines, because they are so bad that I'm like, yo, you who did you hire for this? I know people who can do better than this. One of them is in the chat right now. Ramon Terrell could kill this way better than anyone that you have on that. It's hilariously bad. And when I saw the clip of him falling off the cliff, it was literally like, I was just like, oh my God, that's terrible. There's another clip, and I'll laugh my butt off about it, because it's just, what the heck? Kind of like, what is going on here? Where some little kid is like talking, and then some guy just goes up to the kid and just straight Spartan kicks this kid into a wall. Like, this is like a child getting Spartan kicked into a wall. And maybe I shouldn't have laughed at that, but it looked funny.
Yes, you should.
And it's just like, what is going on? It's just comical, but not comical in like, hey, we're definitely intending to make you laugh comical, but comical. And then, people have noted that the facial expressions have like, this is visually a downgrade in comparison to, like, usually the visuals period are a downgrade in comparison to what was shown previously. This particular fight that I'm showing right now, this boss fight, was shown years ago in footage, and people have been able to like match it to what, and essentially I'm playing this maxed out, everything on, ray tracing on, max settings. And so visually, what you're seeing here is the very best that the game is really going to look. And it's just, it's a bit of a disappointment. I'm not certain, and apparently this is a full price game, like $70. I don't think this is worth $70 based off what I played with the demo, based on what I've seen. Some of the comments I've seen from people who are PlayStation 5 owners who own this game is saying that the game is crashing on PlayStation. Like, that's rare when the game is crashing on console. Like, I understand crashing on PC, but on console was crashing? Like, damn, really?
I know, out here really standing up.
I feel like for the price, that's just not good enough. Like, and I may pick this up eventually because I do enjoy the combat. And initially I was trying to like get it figured out, but I think it's probably like through this boss fight, I really started to kind of like understand what the heck I was doing. And once I got the hang of it and kind of realizing that, like, I'm kind of used to with these kind of fast-paced games having the ability to dodge, but it seemed like what they want you to do is the parry, and the parry hit the right kind of parry timing to prevent some of these attacks and really kind of break the guard of the enemies. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's very much like the main game is kind of a boss rush game, but I'm eventually, when it goes on sale, which wouldn't surprise me if it went on sale in a week or two from now, that I'm going to pick it up and play through it, because I really like the combat, and I think I just want to, you know how I am when it comes to building things out. I want to build things through this, and I want to kind of try to break the game with builds that maybe even the developer didn't think were possible with the different combinations that they have within it. But even mentioning that got me thinking about something that a comment someone made. So they said they have the full game, and this kind of shows how unfinished this game is, even despite it's been in development for 8 years. Someone said that they were playing the game and they thought they unlocked the skill tree, and they did unlock the skill tree, but it didn't unlock. And so they had been playing for hours, not realizing that they hadn't applied any skill points.
They had super underpowered.
And they can't. They got like 20 skill points that they can't use because the game is locked. And I've never heard of such a thing. I've never heard that kind of bug before. This is just like an unfinished game. And I don't know what this person can do besides, I don't know, wait for a patch to fix that specifically. Although, I didn't see anyone else say that they dealt with this, or start all over again. And maybe that the next time they get to that part, it actually unlocks the skill tree. And I just think, like, that's crazy. Really, the fact that you spent $70 on this, and this is the kind of experience you get, not the quality of the game, but just it not working properly. And about that, and I'll finish up here.
No, you're good.
I think the only really saving grace with it really is the combat, because visually it's not impressive. It's not impressive in a game design perspective. It's not impressive with from what I've seen. The story seems kind of ho-hum. And I've only seen the story from the demo, so maybe it gets better. Who knows, right? And it just doesn't. I expected more. I hoped for more. And
you made a video wanting more.
I made multiple videos wanting more, and I'm still going to play it eventually. I just don't feel right spending that much money on something that is this like, and again, performance wise, I'm fine, but it's like I can't really account for the kind of technical issues where you got stuff that's just like it's broken and the skill trees don't work. Things like that. Like I'm just, or the game's constantly crashing. That's the kind of stuff that really irks me. I remember playing Avowed earlier this year, and Avowed kept crashing. And I was just like, it got to the point that near the end of the game, I just wanted to finish it because I was getting angry with how often it kept crashing.
Right.
And I did eventually play through it twice because they did fix the issue where it kept crashing. But like, I kind of learned then that I can kind of take some issues, technical issues, but there are certain ones that make me go no. Like I just definitely just put my foot down. I'm not dealing with that kind of thing.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts about Lost Soul Aside? Did you ever think about playing this?
So no, I didn't. Because I first of all, I didn't think this game was actually
correction. It's not apparently. I wasn't looking at the chat. Apparently, it's not $70. It's $60, which is kind of makes sense considering the game was first revealed as a last-gen game. Plays like a last-gen game. It shouldn't be $70. It should be $60. But go ahead.
No, I don't. I was actually, because I know you wanted to play this game so bad. I got the code. They sent me a code today, and I was sitting there like, I'm gonna text this code to SloMo. But I was like, you know what? SloMo probably already got this game because SloMo is impatient. So the one time in my mind where I'm thinking like SloMo already got it. Cause I was no lie, I was literally just gonna shoot you a text, say, here's the code suicide. But I just assumed since you were looking forward to the game that you just already bought it. And here now you're telling me that, no, bro, I'm going to wait to buy the game. And dang it, I could have sent you the game because I'm not going to play it. I just put it in on my system because I was like, well, they sent 3 copies of it to my store. I have a PlayStation and 2 other people had a PlayStation. So we all got it. And I was thinking like, well, maybe I could give it away as a DPS thing. I don't know. But I don't know if anybody really interested in it. It wasn't like Gears of War or anything. So I was like, well, maybe at some point in the future I want to play it. So I just installed it on my system. But now that I feel bad because I wish I could have saved you the $60. But
I mean, I didn't really want to play it on because this game was always going to come to PC. I didn't really want to play it on PS5. But hey, free is free.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So I would have took the copy. Right.
Yeah,
so I would have took the copy.
Free. That's my whole thing. But no, I mean, like I said, there was a moment I was interested in the game, especially like when you were doing a lot of content around it because I was watching it. And the longer and longer it took for this game to come out, the more I was like, bro, this is just going to feel bad. It's like you very rarely get a game that goes across generations and don't feel like it's last gen, like you just said. Like a lot of people will point to Cyberpunk. Yeah, it had issues out the gate, but that game was super scalable by the time they brought it out. Like it can still did it run good on the older Xbox Ones and PS4s? Not really, but it was okay. It was decent, but it scaled like crazy on high-end consoles and PCs. So it felt like a next-gen experience due to that fact. And just watching some of the gameplay, looking at some of the reviews for it, I just was like, yeah, this just seems like a game that they didn't want to cancel because they put too much money into it, too much development time. Right. They wanted to release it so they could recoup some of the funds back, which I get.
That's exactly what I think happened. I think Epic, China Hero Project, and Sony was just like, yo, where the game at?
Where the game at,
we
bro?
We need to see what it looks like. This is it. This is what you've done in it. You know what? Release it.
Just release it. We got to get it out.
We're not going to keep paying for this, and you keep adding things instead of just like at some point you gotta say, all right, look, this is it. Stop, hard stop. And I've seen the developers say that at some point you gotta stop adding things and just go. This is what we got.
Go.
If we come up with anything else that's dope, we'll add those things into DLC or sequel. But this is what the game is, because we gotta get this game out. And it's just like,
get it out.
I feel like that dude just didn't get that. You know, he didn't get the memo.
Definitely didn't get that memo. But games can grow, and I don't know what this is going to do, though. Just looking at those reviews kind of got me thinking like, this is... But it's sold pretty well. I mean, for a game that, I think a lot of people were just really, really interested in the game. It just took forever to come out. But I also do think that we got to be a little bit more balanced in the conversation, because we pay attention to all this stuff. We know that this game has been through development hell for the most part, with a lot of the things that's been going on with it. But a lot of people just see articles or watch trailers, and when they see a trailer, like, oh, that game's finally coming out, then they don't know about all the hiccups and everything, and they're too busy playing whatever game they want to play to be thinking about the news cycle and everything that's happening. So a lot of people that probably buy this game were just super fans of it, like what they saw from the China Hero Project when it came to that. They liked a lot of the other games that they made. And this is like a game that they had their eye on for a while. And when it released. And guess what? They'll probably like it. Sometimes I think
and China Hero Project has had some good titles, like that Fest game. That game was really good. The Ano Mutonium, that one is really good. I own that one. I need to get back to finish it, but it's a good quality game. Got the cyberpunk feel and pixel art. It's really, really dope. They seem to try to go for interesting projects from either studios or developers that don't have the financial backing or the funding to try to get the game out the door and helping that happen. But it's just like the sad thing is that this was like the flagship of the China Hero Project. They're on like phase 4 now. This is a phase 1 game. So it's been that long. And whenever they do, trying to think of the name of the gaming event that they do. It's something. God, what is the name of the? Someone could probably tell me. I'm about to look it up real quick because I don't want to
butcher it.
Yeah. They do it once a year. Something Joy. It's something Joy. It'll come back to me. But
tell me why.
They do it once a year, and every year, everyone's like, "Where's Lost Soul-Aside?" And there'll be all these really fascinating games that are out there that's showing up or coming out, and then everyone's just like, but Lost Soul-Aside though. Yeah, it's called China Joy. That's what it's called. It always happens in the summer, and I think at some point people just finally just like got tired of waiting for it. Stop caring. I don't feel like I'm alone in that. But
no, I agree.
Yeah, it is what it is. You ready to get into our only
topic? Yep, our only topic.
All right. So we got some rumors here.
Rumor alert.
These rumors are for the PlayStation 6 console and handheld, coming from Moore's Law is Dead. So I would say Moore's Law is that there are people who feel like he is he's always right, and there are people who feel like myself, that Moore's Law is he's got some sources, but I don't think he vets his sources great, and sometimes he adds a little too much pizzazz to what he's talking about, because what ends up happening is, like, for example, almost every generation, GPU generation, Moore's Law has said that AMD was going to destroy NVIDIA.
Oh,
like RDNA 3, RDNA 2, RDNA. Like he just kept doing it, and it's just like it never really turned out that way. So but then he did have accurate information on the PS5 Pro, its specs. So there are times where he really nails it, and then there are times where he's a bit off. But to kind of quickly go into some of these specs here that are rumored, there's supposed to be of course, a PS6 console that we all know is coming, but there's also this long rumored handheld. King knows. He just ain't gonna say it, but and I think what people are saying is that some of what he's saying about the handheld is a bit of speculation. But at least he's claiming speculation, but not necessarily what he's heard. But we'll say it all and discuss it regardless. But TSMC would be manufacturing the chip, and it's going to be on 3 nanometer node, which is good. We're looking at a Zen 6 6-core CPU. With 4 megabits of L3 cache for the Zen 6. We're looking at the kind of memory that we're looking at is LPDDR5X. And funny thing is, I was on Crossfire last night and I hadn't looked at any of this stuff in detail. So they were asking. So shout out to Mooch. Mooch was like, "Well, SloMo, what do you think about this?" And I was just like,
"Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I don't know what he said." But now after looking at it, the kind of memory that they're using, this LPDDR5X, this is for like this is really about like low energy consumption. Like it's good memory for like mobile phones, but isn't necessarily really like how you use in like what you're using your desktop PC or like even a laptop. But for what they're doing here, I think that's fine. It's what else are we here? I don't know if this is going to be supposed to be RDNA 5 or UDNA. I guess it kind of depends on when AMD decides to bring out RDNA, but there's a huge disparity in the CU count between the handheld and the PS6, and I think I need to, I don't think this has all the details, what I'm reading off of, but someone in the chat may know the actual number, but I think what was stated before was the PS6 will have 56 CUs and the handheld is going to have 16 CUs. And speed-wise, it'll be running at 120 gigahertz in handheld mode and 1.65 gigahertz in docked mode. And so having a little bit of boost in docked mode is good.
That is good.
I've seen a lot of conversation about whether this thing will run PS5 games and PS6 games natively, or just PS5 games and PS6 games through cloud. I think whether that will end up being successful or not is really just all determined on what the cost is. Because if it's going to run PS5 games natively but stream PS6 games, that price better be significantly lower than what the PS6 is. They're saying it would be backwards. I think this is for the PS6, backwards compatible to PS5 and PS4 generations. Don't mention the PS3. Canis is the code name for the handheld. Includes a micro SD slot, M.2 SSD, haptic vibration, and touchscreen. It will be touchscreen, and they're looking at manufacturing around mid 2027 with a release in fall or winter of 2027 for that release date. So Forte, everything that we just discussed, what are your thoughts on this. First, let's say power-wise, do you think this is good enough for next generation?
But so it depends when next generation starts.
Okay, let's look at. So they're planning late 2027. So we're looking at 2 years from now.
2 years from now, but I can't say that because any piece of hardware that comes out is all automatically behind. It's behind at the moment it releases because you're building this off of tech that is like brand new tech that was theorized 3-4 years ago that has been out probably and matured over a couple of years, and you're already thinking about the next thing that's coming. But in general, I do think. I also got to think. I was like, let me ask you this: what do you consider next gen?
Well, I mean, I think that means different things to different people. But for me, next gen is
what does it mean to you?
It's got to have features that do not exist on the current generation.
Right.
So for example, even though a lot of people, especially PC gamers, would say, well, that's old because I had SSDs on my PC.
Right.
And during last generation, but that wasn't new to consoles. And so that really kind of changed the way development worked on consoles, the amount of storage that was needed, how quickly things had to happen, like how
it also helped PC
design. Yeah, of course it did, because then that's the baseline.
The baseline came up, so it definitely helped. So I do agree with that being
but like even like, remember how every action adventure game you played would have the whole shimmy in between two rocks or a shimmy in between a narrow, and all that was just hiding the loading of the next area because the mechanical drive was just too slow to really stream that in seamlessly. The SSD allowed that to where they didn't have to do that anymore for the games that. Yeah, right. So this is like, that's next gen, because that actually is an advancement in multiple ways that doesn't exist in the games that were designed for last gen, as well as just the hardware in particular, right? I don't know what next gen looks like for next generation because I haven't experienced it yet. But what I can define what it would be once we see it, and it's got to be something that we haven't seen before. I'll say it like this, because we talked about Judas earlier tonight. The game design of Judas is next gen.
Yes,
I feel like a lot of what we played this generation have been last gen design games with hardware that's capable of pushing it a little bit further. But like the design of those games is really not much different than how games were designed in 2016 and 2015 and whatever. What Judas is doing, what Ken is doing with Judas is different. That's not been done before. That's next gen. So in terms of game design, in terms of having hardware and the features that it provides, that's what I want to see. The DualSense controller, that's next gen. Like the kind of haptic feedback that you didn't get on current gen consoles. If these bastards would actually have their default controllers with Hall effect, that would be next gen. Having thumbsticks that didn't get stick drift just by looking at them would have been next gen if they would freaking do it. Putting back buttons on the back of your controllers like you're in this actual century and not still in 2003 or 1998 would be excellent. How about we do that? Because we got controllers right now that got back buttons on them like the Elite controller and the DualSense Edge do, but they got better thumbsticks, they got better triggers, and the back buttons are better placed. Like, what are we doing here? Like that, if they would have made controllers that had all those features, that would be next gen. But if they add Hall effect on the new controllers for next gen, if they add back buttons on the default DualSense controller, the default Xbox controller, then I'm saying, okay, those are next gen features now, because they don't exist on current gen. So that's the way I define it. I know there's some people that's just like path tracing in every game. or 120 frames per second being the standard and not 60 and never 30 anymore. Like, I mean, everyone's got their preferences, but for me, it's like something new and different that you just didn't get and didn't experience before.
Yeah, and if that's your definition, and I consider that's my definition too, to an extent. My definition, the one thing that I want to see is game design being taken to another level when it comes to like just the overall impact of what is visible on the screen and how much of it you could put there. Because I feel like we make especially in the generation where worlds are so big, but they're so empty. Like if I think about Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, huge world. You see it, you can go there. But what's between A and B? Like, what do you see? Like I think Tears of the Kingdom did better because they did populate the world more. But when I think of what I want to see as next generation, it's what can you do in a game to push the envelope and the experience of immersing me as you could possibly do. Like, I think about people really like to champion games like Far Cry. Far Cry has some of the biggest vistas and planes you can see in a game. But what's happening in between those vistas that you're looking at that, and I'm not expecting every blade of grass to have something going on, but you'll walk like in some of these games, you'll go 5 minutes of just walking and what they do to break it up is they'll have comms going and you're talking to people. So it's distracting you from the fact that while you're traversing across this giant land of nothing, it makes you feel like you're still being impacted by the story because you're not paying attention to the walk and the adventure of getting there. It's about the story that they're telling you of doing it. I want that to be melded all into one. And how do you do that? By coming out with tech and being able to push that envelope. And that starts at the baseline when it comes to consoles. Like a lot of people, talk about like the reason I always say I want to see higher end consoles. Like the reason I said, do I want to see a PS5 be $700? No. But you don't want to see it because it's like, it cuts out so many people from the middle to the bottom that just can't afford to do that. But selfishly, I want that to happen because I know all it's going to do is push us forward to the thing that I want the most, which is this ability to be able to flood a video game with so much stuff when it comes to like not just junk and garbage, but like things that sensorily make an impact in the game. Like what you said, the controller, the edge controller. I don't like it due to the fact because I don't turn on when I play a shooter. I don't have any of those features turned on, and that's the predominantly things that I would play with a control with the controller and stuff. Now, when I play God of War, when I played Last of Us, I had it on. Games like that. But when I'm playing Call of Duty, I'm never going to have. So I don't get that experience. But the games that I'm talking about, the single player experience that have these huge campaigns that really, really tell a story, not just through the story itself, but through the experience of watching what you're seeing on the screen. That is what I feel like next gen for me would be. And I do think that the further and further we get to these new iterations of hardware that they're talking about coming out, can do that. But it always comes back to what is the lower common denominator going to be that's going to hold us back from getting to that, because we just got to Xbox Series X and PS5 have been out since 2000. This is the first year where the majority of the games that are coming out are not on previous generations. They're all current. Madden's current gen.
And we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get the same thing next generation.
Exactly.
Because the lion's share of the games that people are playing right now are games that are cross-gen games, and the developers and publishers that make those games do not want to take the chance that if they cut off the weaker, older last-gen hardware, that the people who play the games won't switch over, which I think they will, because those games are just really that popular, and kind of they're console sellers, even though they're not like they're multi-platform games, but they will sell your hardware. We see it with like college football, EA college football, right? That last year, that moved units for everybody. That's that it's now on PC. So if you wanted to play it, you had to pick yourself up an Xbox or a PlayStation, and it moved units again this year. Everything EA with their annual sports releases is now, I believe, actually there may be one or two that are still last gen, but they're slowly transitioning everything over to current gen. GTA 6 is going to be current gen, and next year's Call of Duty is going to be current gen. So, but by this time next year, it's going to be even less people on, and my theory, it will be even less people on last gen consoles, because they haven't moved over to new hardware because they've had no need to.
Right.
I play NBA 2K, and NBA 2K is still on my PS4. So what's the need for me to upgrade? I have none.
Exactly.
I'm a casual gamer. I don't play Ratchet and Clank, so I didn't need a PS5. I don't play Bethesda RPGs, so I didn't need Starfield. And there was no need for me to upgrade. But damn, you just took Madden away from me. So now I gotta upgrade. Oh, I mean, the next Call of Duty's not going to be on my Xbox One X. Guess I gotta upgrade. And that's, and I feel like the publishers are just they play things way too safe. They were way too gun shy with that. There's no such thing as getting them to take a risk with billions of dollars, but it gets to the point where it's just like supporting last gen is just stupid. And then that's when they finally stop doing it. But like this generation, when next gen starts, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 years into the gen when they finally say, I guess we can stop making games on the PS5 now.
Right.
And that sucks. But what that also means is that all the innovation that we're really looking for, we'll see some games really take advantage of it, but we're not really going to get that right away.
Right.
We might get that from first party games, but like everyone else is just going to what the lowest common denominator is. And shout out to, and rest in peace to Optimus Code, friend of the show, always was good to us, always shouting us out on Twitter for enjoying our conversations. And he used to, he's at least was on like at least 2 episodes. But Code used to always say this about consoles. And he used to always say that it's really about the lowest common denominator. With the weakest hardware is your bottleneck that you're supporting. And so, like, you can't have a Jaguar CPU inside of a PlayStation 4, and then if you're putting the game on both, think that you can do some really crazy stuff that's only possible on that Zen 2 CPU. You can't. Because you can't have 2 different versions of the game like that. You can't have one version of the game where it's 20 enemies on screen, and in the PS4 version, there are 5. That's just not going to fly. So you got to have it all be parity. And if they're not going to give up on last gen because it makes them too much money, just be prepared for that. be prepared for what you're going to get, quote unquote, get out of next gen. So it doesn't surprise me to kind of bring this back to the conversation about the rumored PS6 and PlayStation handheld specs, that they're not like, ooh, wow, overwhelming people. They're not wowing people. They don't need to. Why make something, sure, it may end up lasting longer before you need to like upgrade it, but why, especially in today's age where everything is super expensive and consoles prices don't go down, they go up, why make something that is going to make it so difficult for you to have at an affordable price at launch when you're not really going to be able to take advantage of it?
Right.
And the games that people play mostly, those games aren't going to take advantage of it.
Right.
So why even push for that? Unless, you see a future where it's really, really going to be super useful and necessary. I just don't see it. So.
Nope, I don't agree with you.
Anything else you want to say on this before we get on out of here, man?
No, man, that's it, man. A great show as always. And, biggest thing is power is power. Just buy when you're ready to buy, and, hope that the lower common system doesn't hold you back. That's basically all you're hoping for at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I always end up buying everything anyway, so
Yeah.
even though, like, everyone says, oh, if all the console makers start putting the games on PC, I'm just gonna get a PC. And I'm not saying those people are lying or whatever. I just know myself. Like, I still play my Xbox. I still, like, my Xbox is in a different part of my house. Sometimes I don't feel like getting up. I'm lazy. I don't feel like getting up and going to my PC. And so the Xbox is there conveniently. I just turn it on and play it. My PlayStation is actually hooked up to my capture card at my desk, where if I was streaming as much as I should, I would be using it there. But I mean, I'm playing Fire Emblem on my Switch. I use everything. I buy everything. But I understand how this stuff works. And I'm not expecting, like, if you really want some burn my face off visuals, you should have been built yourself a PC. Expecting that from consoles is foolish.
True.
Because it's not going to happen. And there are people who will cap and say, oh, like the visuals on my PlayStation is just no, it's not. It ain't the same. You capping, bro. It's not the same. PC's better. It looks better. The level of ray tracing, the quality of the ray tracing, better. Path tracing, when you just getting ray trace shadows, it's better over there. Like if you really worried about, man, I want to make sure every game I play is a minimum of 60 FPS. What you want console for then? Because that's the only platform where sometimes you're forced to just a fidelity mode, like Hellblade 2, Gotham's Knights. You don't have those lack of choice on PC. So if that's really something that you're concerned about, take your butt to PC now. Do it now rather than later, so that you're not like, and it's not as scary as people think it is. Oh no, drivers. Right. Bro, it's no different than upgrading the firmware on your damn console. It's literally no different.
It literally isn't.
It's so much more streamlined now than what it used to be, and getting more and more streamlined as the days go by. Microsoft is trying to streamline the Windows OS to cut out all the fluff if you just want to use it for gaming. And it's not there yet, clearly, but they want, there's these people who want to dress their console up like a pig and hinder its versatility to make it, like I said, keep saying console, their PC, hinder the versatility of their PC to make it run like a console as far as features and UI go, and just take the power and performance. You can do that if you so wish. So
you can.
It's buy a PC, man. All right. I might stream tomorrow. I know I keep saying this stuff, but just look, if I do, see, told you, Forte owes us a stream of Death Stranding.
It's going to happen this week. Either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm off both those days. I just got to figure out what my schedule is going to be first. What I got to do to take people places.
If we don't do these streams, I want you guys to cuss us out in the chat. I mean, straight chew us up, spit us out, really go after us, because we definitely
been slacking.
Have not been. Yeah, we've been slacking big time. But Forte, anything else besides the Death Stranding stream you got coming up? Or?
Nah. Do I? That's a good question. Well, you know what? I do think we need to play Gears of War this week too, though. So we'll set that up. We need to make that happen before everybody stops caring about Gears of War, because you know how
right.
You know how cynical the people are when it comes to stuff like that. So we are going to figure out a time to do that. But outside of that, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, we're out of here. You guys enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your games. And see you guys next week, man. Peace.
Peace.